So if I had to start over with just $1,000 in 1 hour to trade in a given day, then this is exactly what I would do. So I wrote some notes here, and in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how I would restart that process, and more importantly, how you can do it for yourself if you find yourself in this situation right now. So I talked to a number of traders, and a lot of times, especially when working a full-time job, especially if you work in corporate America, there may be really long hours, and it may be hard to find time to actually take trades, and then also time to study as well, especially if you have a life and other things going on that just takes time away from the actual trading process. So I have notes here that it took me a couple hours to put together because I wanted to make this really good for you all. So I'm going to be referencing them here, and basically this will be some of the things that you could use in order to get on the path to consistently profitable trading, even if you find yourself without a lot of time. So you also don't want to be burning out or wasting time, especially if you're limited with all the things you are doing inside of your life. So I know that this journey overall for trading can be rough, so it doesn't have to be that way, and we're gonna break this plan down into 3 different parts. So the first part is going to be building the right foundation. Second, lock in a consistent routine, something that is easy for you to stick to based on your life and your schedule. And then third, you're going to set yourself up for growth over time. So at the end of this, I'm also going to share the #1 trap that keeps a lot of traders stuck in trying to trade for 5 to 7 years or even more and still not seeing any profitability, and basically just stuck in a rut and don't really know how to get themselves out of it. Have you ever thought that you had to sit in front of charts all day in order to make money from the markets? Well, in this How to Trade with a Full-Time Job kit, I'm going to show you how to master trading in just 1 hour per day without sacrificing your job. You're going to get the strategies that I personally use in order to be able to make time in order to trade and learn and do whatever else I need to do inside of my life. So this is the first thing, build the foundation. So the first thing I would do is to pick a market and just stick with that one market. Don't get shiny object syndrome. Do not look at any other markets. So for me, that market is going to be gold, especially because there's a lot of volatility inside of that market, and it moves so much in any given day, and it really doesn't even matter which session. So for me, a lot of times, since I work full time and I'm a senior leader in technology, it is hard to be able to look at a screen at any point during the day. So I have to take all of my trades for the most part during the Asian session. And I know people say don't trade the Asian, whatever. For me, it's been working, and I've been getting consistent gains in the gold market in the Asian session. So this could be the session for you. We're going to talk about that in a second. But basically, gold overall, it respects structure, and you don't have to be glued to your screen all day. So a lot of times my trades may take an hour, 2 hours, and I may be making dinner and then, have my laptop or phone or something to look at, okay, it's still good, and then go back to whatever I was doing. So it doesn't take a lot of time for the gold market to really push, and it doesn't matter essentially at this point, because there's movement all the time, what time you have to trade. You just have to make it work for you. So that is the first piece of the foundation. The second piece of the foundation is going to be making sure that you have clean charts. And every week, at least at this point on this channel, I do the chart with me videos where I'm talking about gold, or I'm talking about NAS 100 or some other market. And basically I'm showing you what I'm looking at for the upcoming week, what my game plan is going to be. And that is typically based off of just pure market structure. The #1 comments that you all leave is that, oh, these charts are so clean, I can understand it fully. Thank you so much. I appreciate all of that. Thank you. Continue to watch. And of course, if you like this channel, go ahead and subscribe and like this video so that way I can continue to make more videos like this. But those levels that I show inside of those videos, those are really key levels, and market tends to respect those levels. So that's why I like to trade off of those levels when I'm looking for a trading opportunity that I share, and I go into a lot more depth inside of those videos. And you can just look at any old video and it'll give you a sense of what you should be looking for inside of that gold market. So the other thing as part of the foundation is basically stick to one setup and learn that setup really, really well. So there are so many videos popping up here on YouTube, like every other second, talking about new strategy, 100%, 1,000% gain. And a lot of times that's not realistic, #1. And then two, some of these people who are talking about these trading strategies, they're using algorithms, and basically the algorithm has no emotions. It just executes when it sees its signal, but we are human. We tend to overthink things. I know I do at times when I'm looking at the charts, overthinking and questioning and doubting and whatever before we take a trade. So if you find one setup that you like, break and retest, or I don't know, support bounce, whatever. There's so many names out there, but basically if you find one setup or maybe a couple of different setups that you like and you stick with it, then you can master that and be great at that in a short amount of time. So I remember learning one particular strategy, studying that strategy every single day for 8 months, and then that led to me becoming consistently profitable. Yes, there were other things that played into that, but it was sticking to that one market, one setup, maybe two setups, and just sticking with that. And that's something that I teach inside of the Profitable Traders Academy, designed for people rather who do not have a lot of time, that want to learn how to trade and do it in the most efficient way possible. These are things that have come out of my own experiences and busy schedule. And as you know, doing these YouTube videos also takes time out of my schedule. So these days I have even less time to devote to some of those things, which is why the Profitable Traders Academy is good for somebody like you who may be short on time but want to get the maximum benefit. So go ahead and check that out. The link for that is in the description box below. So the second thing you need to do in order to trade in less than 1 hour per day is to lock in a routine that works for you. Now, only you can figure that out for yourself. You really have to sit down with yourself and have a real conversation. Where can I carve out 1 hour per day in order to either trade the market, learn the market, backtest the market, just a combination of all of those things inside of 1 hour per day. So one of the things that I like to do, and I still do, is I take about 20 to 30 minutes the night before I'm looking to trade and just mark up my levels. If price has made some sort of movements, I clean up those levels and I just keep it moving from there. I set up alerts inside of TradingView. I also have TradingView on my phone, so that way in case an alert hits, I can see it on my phone. And then also I do prepare my mindset. So I do that in a number of ways. The number one thing is to see what kind of economic events are happening in the week and then just prepare my mind for that. So for instance, if there's FOMC, which is the Federal Open Market Committee, where they determine whether or not the federal funds rate will increase, decrease, or stay the same, then I prepare my mind for that. And then if there's NFP, which is non-farm payrolls, which is typically the first Friday of every single month, then I know that that's not something that I want to trade. I just prepare my mind for that and just come up with a game plan for after the news hits. So just those sort of things. And you have to think about that for yourself. But those are some of the things that I do. And then step 2 in this building a routine that works for you is using your available hour to either trade live or to do replays. Basically, it's a form of back testing, typically no more than 15 to 30 minutes per week, mainly because I used to back test for hours on a weekend, and it did help me a little bit at that time when I didn't really understand gold, but it was insanely boring. So I found that for myself, 15 minutes or so in one session is really good. Maybe a few days later, I will do another 15-minute session, and that will be good enough for me for the week. But of course, you have to figure out what works for you. And then the other thing to keep in mind for the second part of building a routine is understand that any action that you're taking, whether it's live trading, marking up your charts, back testing, studying, reading, whatever, you are building the skill inside of that hour. That's that block that you have determined for yourself, and you're building that skill. So it doesn't matter what's going on or what you decide to do inside of that block, you are making progress, and that's the only thing that matters. So step 3 inside of building a routine is going to be taking 5 minutes to reflect. So a lot of times I like to write in a physical journal. I'm on journal number 5, is actually downstairs right now, but I just started trading journal number 5, where basically I take notes. I write down my analysis in terms of things that I am thinking about in the week. I also have a whiteboard that is behind this camera where I mark out my game plan for gold. I'll mark out my game plan for options because I am also an options trader, and then also any economic news for the week. I have that on a whiteboard that I'm looking at right now, and I note the things in the notebook playbook of what worked, what didn't work, and how could I have done better. So always just having those 5 minutes or so every single day. It could be inside of the hour, it could be after the hour, whatever you choose, but just 5 minutes. Everybody can find that, where basically I note those things that I could improve upon, or something I could do better, or something I didn't consider. Just a number of things where I just take 5 minutes and to think about that every single day. That helps me so much. And also taking those notes, whether you write it down or just think about it, whatever you decide to do, just know that those 5 minutes are going to be key in your development, because you're always thinking about how you can do better. And then you will eventually do better if you keep thinking about it and then take some action on those things that you were thinking about. So one time, just to give you an example, I had this one-on-one student where she was a single mom. She was also going to school and she was working. So of course she has a lot of stuff going on, or at least at that time had a lot of stuff going on, but she made a plan for herself, something that worked for her, and she stuck with it. We met at a certain time every single week, but she was also able to learn the things that I was teaching and then take those things and apply them to the real market, and then come back to me with, hey, this is what I did. I saw this setup. This one worked out well. This one didn't work out well. What could I have done better? Those sort of things are definitely going to help you improve as a trader. And basically just finding those pockets of time to trade or to learn is going to help you become a much better trader over the long term. So number 3 in this, scale with intention. So a lot of times, and I even notice this in myself, I want to jump to the really large lot sizes because I want to make a lot of money in a short amount of time. Of course, we all do. That's why we're here. But you have to do it with intention. So the first step inside of this is going to be, don't rush the lot size. Basically, focus on being consistent first. So even if you have a 0.01 lot size, getting consistent with that and maybe making, depending on your goals, 10 pips, great. 20 pips, great. 30, 40, 50, whatever. That's exactly how I started when I started on gold. I started off with a 0.01, and then I was just trying to gain different pip levels at different intervals. So basically, I would get 10 pips consistently, maybe over 3 trades, and I'm like, okay, let me go to 20 pips. And then I would do that, then 30 pips, and then 40. And then eventually it got to 50, 60, and then I just went straight to 100. So now 100 pips is the target that I try to hit every single time when it comes to gold. And that could be you if you decide to choose gold or whatever market you decide to choose. So go back to step 1 of this whole thing and figure out what that's going to be for you. But that's something that's going to help you. So the next thing in this is going to be reinvest your early profits into yourself, whether it be your mentorship in terms of getting some trading education, whether it's buying a software or a monthly subscription to a software that's going to help you in terms of tracking your progress, whether it's getting the pro version of TradingView, whatever that tool is for you, you want to continually reinvest in your trading and see this as a business, because it is a business. I've created another community here on School called Consistent Profitable Traders. And if you want to join, you can go to school.com/traders in order to join this free membership. I have a number of things here inside of the community. You can see that the community is growing. There are people being added almost every single day. And then inside of the classroom, I do have some things here. I'm constantly adding new things, new resources for new traders. And if you go over to the calendar, then you'll see that I have a monthly call with everybody inside of this group. So if you want to join this community, go ahead and go to school.com/traders, and I'll see you there. And the way some people have their trading profits set up, it is a business. So you want to make sure that you're constantly reinvesting into your skill, into your tools for trading in order to help you to be able to analyze the markets quicker and just overall become a better trader. So speaking of tools, you also want to track your data. Now, for some people, that could just be a notebook, that could be an Excel spreadsheet, that could be a software subscription that you get, whatever it is, you want to continue to track your data and then look at periods where you may have gone wrong and even periods where you may have gone right. So just to give you an example, I remember I used to use this software that tracked my profits, and I noticed that on Tuesdays when I traded, I typically lost. And I don't remember what was happening in my life, but I remember Tuesday, it was all red when I looked at a given month, it would just be red straight down. But then on other days, maybe like a Thursday or something, I would be profitable, or perhaps on a Monday, I would be profitable. So then at that time in my life, I started to give a lot more emphasis to those days and not really trade on that Tuesday because it was always red. Now, fast forward to a few years later, I don't even think about that because it's not even an issue. It's more so for me, instead of a specific day, it's more of a specific time. So I'm also seeing that inside of my data as well. And as you start to collect this data over time, then you will figure out what those things are for you. So that way you can make adjustments. So that way you can remain consistently profitable. And then another thing inside of that, and figuring out why at one point Tuesday was a bad day for me to trade, what was my mindset? What was going on? And I can't remember exactly. I want to say it was something like it was a long work day and I was trying to maybe do the Asian session and was just exhausted. You know, that was something that contributed to me having these losing streaks on Tuesdays at that particular time. So like I said, you're going to figure that out as you go into your own data and see what is working for you or what's not working for you. So if you're serious about trading and your time is limited and you want a clear and proven path to profitability, then I want to invite you to one of the private calls that I offer, where basically I point people to one of the products that I have that could potentially help them. So if you're serious about trading and your time is limited and you want a clear, proven path to profitability, then I currently host one-on-one calls with people to understand what their challenges are and to see if I can help them. And if I can, then I'll point them to either Chart Privé, which is my one-on-one coaching mentorship, or the Profitable Traders Academy, where both of these programs are 1 year and they can get my full support. It's going to be me on a call trying to figure out whether or not I can help you, and of course leading you to something that is going to help you. So if you're interested in one of those calls, spots are definitely limited because of all the things that I do, and I want you to sign up for one of those calls to see if working together is a good fit. You can use the link in the description box below in order to sign up for one of those calls. So these are all the tips that I have at this point in terms of if I had $1,000 and 1 hour per day to trade, exactly what I would do. This is still the stuff that I'm doing today because my schedule is so jam-packed with so many other things. Obviously, I got this YouTube channel, I'm trading, I'm teaching, I'm working full-time, and I am learning French again. So a lot of things happening, but I still find the time to do all of these things because of the way that I manage my schedule and fit in the things, never making the excuse I don't have time. Instead, I shift that frame and think, how can I make time for this? And that could be something that could help you in order to improve your own trading. So I'm LaKiesha, and if you found this video amazing, go ahead and like and subscribe to this channel so that way you can get more of this content, and I'll see you later.